5 Mysteries from Illinois. 1. The Springfield 3, 1960s, present. Springfield, Illinois, in the 1960s, was a seemingly ordinary Midwestern town, but it bore witness to a string of bizarre and interconnected disappearances that still haunt the community today. These mysterious cases have come to be known as the Springfield 3, not to be confused with a similarly named case in Missouri. The Illinois version of the Springfield 3 involves the disappearances of 3 young women: Sarah Jackson, 1963, Emily Williams, 1965, and Patricia Lang, 1967. Each woman vanished under similar circumstances, leading to speculation of a serial kidnapper operating in the area. Details. Sarah Jackson was a 23-year-old nurse working late shifts at St. John's Hospital. On November 2, 1963, Sarah left work around 11 p.m., intending to catch a bus home. She was last seen talking to a man in a dark overcoat near the bus stop, but she never arrived at her apartment. No evidence was found, and her disappearance was quickly forgotten by the general public. Emily Williams, a 19-year-old college student at Springfield Junior College, disappeared on March 15, 1965. Emily had attended a house party with friends but decided to leave around 1 a.m. Witnesses reported seeing her walking alone down a dimly lit street, and then she was never seen again. Her purse, with all her belongings intact, was found in an alley a few blocks away. Patricia Lang was a 21-year-old waitress who vanished on May 22, 1967. Her car was found abandoned at a local gas station, with the keys still in the ignition and her coat neatly folded on the passenger seat. The attendant remembered seeing Patricia, but nothing seemed out of the ordinary, and there were no signs of a struggle. Facts. Each woman was seen or reported missing within a 1-mile radius of each other. A letter was received by police in 1968, purportedly from the abductor, containing cryptic phrases like, "they wanted freedom," and "she was chosen." This letter was never made public until 20 years later when it was leaked by a retired detective. Theories. The single offender theory. Some investigators believe a single individual abducted all 3 women. The similarity in age, appearance, and circumstances strongly suggests a pattern of behavior. This theory is supported by several witnesses who claim to have seen the same dark overcoat at multiple scenes. Human trafficking. Another theory posits that these women were abducted and sold into a human trafficking ring, which would explain why none of their bodies have ever been found. Occult involvement. Given the references in the mysterious letter, some have speculated that the women were targeted by a cult or occult group active in the area during the 1960s. Lingering questions. Who wrote the cryptic letter, and were there other, unreported victims of this shadowy figure? 2. The murders of the Starved Rock Lodge, 1960. The tranquility of the Starved Rock State Park in Utica, Illinois, was shattered in March 1960, when the brutal murders of 3 women occurred. Lillian Oetting, Frances Murphy, and Mildred Lindquist, all friends from Riverside, Illinois, arrived at the park for a relaxing vacation. Little did they know it would end in their untimely deaths. On March 14, 1960, the women went on a hiking trip and never returned. Their bodies were discovered 2 days later in a small cave, bludgeoned to death with frozen tree branches. The crime scene was gruesome, with clear indications of a struggle. Chester Vega, a 21-year-old dishwasher working at the nearby lodge, quickly became the prime suspect. Vega's confession. Vega eventually confessed to the murders, claiming he intended to rob the women but panicked when they resisted. His confession was, however, riddled with inconsistencies. He retracted it later, alleging that it was coerced by law enforcement under duress. Facts. The case file included several hairs found on the victims that did not match Vega's, but this evidence was dismissed. Vega's fingerprint was never conclusively matched to prints found on the women's camera, which had captured eerie, final photographs of their trip. Theories. The innocence theory. Advocates for Wager's innocence argue that he was railroaded by a police force desperate to solve the case, especially since public pressure had been mounting. They believe the real killer remains at large. Multiple attackers. Another theory suggests that multiple individuals might have been involved in the attack, given the brutality inflicted on 3 women. Lingering questions. Why was evidence suggesting Wager's innocence overlooked, and could there be other perpetrators who were never investigated? 3. The Chicago Tylenol murders, 1982. On September 29, 1982, panic spread across Chicago after 7 people died from cyanide-laced Tylenol capsules. The victims included Mary Kellerman, a 12-year-old girl, and Adam Janus, a postal worker, who died within hours of each other. Over the next few days, 5 more victims succumbed to the poison, sparking a nationwide panic. Details. The connection between the deaths was quickly traced to extra-strength Tylenol capsules purchased at different stores in the Chicago area. The capsules had been tampered with and then returned to store shelves. Investigators discovered that someone had removed the Tylenol from its packaging, added potassium cyanide to the capsules, and replaced them. Facts. Investigators noted that all tainted bottles originated from different production lots, suggesting the tampering occurred post-manufacturing. Several copycat incidents followed, with similar poisonings occurring in other states, although they were unrelated to the original case. Theories. Random terrorist act. Some believe the poisonings were an act of domestic terrorism intended to cause widespread fear. The case led to the introduction of tamper-evident packaging in the pharmaceutical industry. Disgruntled employee or local resident. Another theory speculates that the perpetrator may have been a disgruntled worker in the pharmaceutical or retail industry who knew exactly how to exploit the system. Lingering questions. Why has the perpetrator never been caught, and did they test the poison on themselves before distributing it? 4. The murder of Marilyn Reese Sheppard, 1970s. Marilyn Reese Sheppard was a vibrant young woman who lived in Rockford, Illinois, in the 1970s. On the night of October 5, 1976, Marilyn's husband returned home to find her brutally murdered. The scene was horrifying, with blood splattered across the walls and floors, and Marilyn's body showing signs of a prolonged struggle. Marilyn's husband, Thomas Shepard, was quickly considered a prime suspect. However, his alibi, being at work, was confirmed by several witnesses. Over the years, many rumors emerged, suggesting that Marilyn had a secret life and might have been involved in dangerous dealings. Facts. Several items were missing from the Shepard home, including Marilyn's diary, which was never found. Police discovered strange symbols drawn in blood on the walls, but their meaning remains unknown. Theories. Gang affiliation. Some theorize that Marilyn might have been connected to organized crime, and her death was a targeted hit. Secret lover. Another theory suggests that Marilyn was having an affair, and her lover or their spouse committed the murder. Lingering questions. What was Marilyn's true life story, and why has her diary never surfaced? 5. The Devil's Cave Murders, 1975. In the summer of 1975, a pair of teenagers, Lily Henderson and Mark Sullivan, decided to explore an old, abandoned cave system on the outskirts of Peoria, Illinois. Locals had long whispered about the Devil's Cave, claiming it was haunted and a site for dark rituals. The teenagers, eager to debunk the myths, ventured inside. They were never seen alive again. 3 days later, Lily and Mark's bodies were found deep within the cave, showing signs of a violent struggle. Both had suffered severe head injuries, and strange markings were discovered carved into the cave walls near their bodies. Authorities launched a thorough investigation, but no suspects were ever identified. Facts. Locals claimed to hear strange chanting noises coming from the cave on the night the teenagers disappeared. A local priest reportedly visited the cave just hours before the teenagers entered, conducting an exorcism ritual without permission from the church. Theories. Cult sacrifice. The most prominent theory is that the teenagers stumbled upon a secret cult gathering and were killed to preserve the group's secrecy. Supernatural influence. Some believe that the Devil's Cave was genuinely cursed, and the teenagers were victims of malevolent spirits. Lingering questions. Were Lily and Mark killed by human hands, or was there something otherworldly lurking in the cave? Conclusion. These Illinois mysteries reveal the state's dark underbelly, where unsolved crimes blend with folklore and reality. Each case carries with it the weight of untold stories, unspoken fears, and unanswered questions. The details, both big and small, contribute to an unsettling puzzle that might never be fully solved. Yet, these tales remain etched in local memory, waiting for those willing to dig deeper into the shadows. Thank you for joining us on this journey through the mysteries of Illinois. If you enjoyed this deep dive into the unknown, please like, subscribe, and hit the notification bell to stay updated on our latest explorations into unsolved mysteries and chilling tales from around the world.